everyone, and happy 4th day of Vlogmas. It's Tuesday morning. I just got ready. I did my makeup. I put my outfit on. I have like this little green sweater from Target. I have this hat from Ross, and looking cute. We're gonna go see Wicked today. It is Bargain Tuesday at my movie theater, so that means we get a discounted price on tickets. I think the tickets today are gonna be $6.50, which is really good. But yeah, I'm just gonna take you guys along with me to go see the movie. I'm really excited. Like I said, I think in day 2 of Vlogmas, I haven't seen Wicked since I was like 16. And so I'm really excited to go see it now, especially as a movie. It's just gonna be so much fun. I know I'm gonna love it, and I'm so excited. I can't believe it. I just can't believe that I'm actually gonna go get to see Wicked in the movie theater. Like that's mind-blowing to me. But yeah, before that, I'm going to work on my day 3 of Vlogmas. I need to finish editing and then upload and all that fun stuff. And yeah, I feel like that's about it. I don't know if there's anything else I can update you guys on, but yeah, just come along with me to go see Wicked. So it is the next day. I did want to update you guys yesterday, but it just kind of ended up not working out, and we got home really late. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna wait until tomorrow, and I can talk about my thoughts and feelings on Wicked with you guys while I do my makeup. So that's what we're going to do. I'm gonna pin back my bangs so I could do my makeup, because I also have to talk about Spotify Wrapped today, but that's gonna be in tomorrow's Vlogmas. So you'll definitely have to subscribe if you're not subscribed, or just like tune in, have your notifications on if you want to know more about my Spotify Wrapped. So we have my hair pinned back, and I need to put some moisturizer on because my skin is very, very dry today. Okay, so as you guys know, I saw Wicked yesterday and I absolutely loved it so much. I kind of went in not really with low expectations, but just with like realistic expectations. I didn't want to have too high of expectations because I didn't want to be disappointed. I just didn't want to have like things that I was hoping for in the movie that wouldn't actually happen. So I just kind of wanted to go in with just, you know, kind of like that in mind. I feel like this current foundation shade is too light still. I was worried because I'm like, I think, you know, it's getting to be a little too dark, and so I've been kind of mixing my foundation shades. Oops, oh, that's not working. Okay, it's a good thing I always have napkins in my bag, because I'm like, that just completely turned into like sludge. So let me shake this up. I guess I really do have to shake it every time. But, you know, like I have, like, Wicked holds a really special place in my heart. So I'm like, you know what? Just go in with, you know, not too high of expectations, but also not like super low of expectations either. I just kind of wanted to go in not really knowing what to expect. Thankfully, I hadn't really heard too much of the soundtrack. It's funny because I was in Target recently and they were playing the soundtrack, but like I couldn't really hear it very well. I just knew it was playing and I could like hear the lyrics, but I couldn't really hear exactly what was going on in each song. So I kind of felt like, okay, I got a little bit like of a taste of what to expect, but I didn't really get the whole thing. So, you know, I still kind of have like a fresh slate going into it. And like I said, Wicked means a whole lot to me. I saw it when I was like 16 years old, and basically ever since then, throughout high school, throughout everything, I was so obsessed with the original Broadway cast soundtrack. And so going to see Wicked was like a really exciting and very special experience. I did go see it by myself, so I think that, you know, it was nice to not have anybody else's opinions or thoughts like changing mine, if that makes any sense. Like, I feel like sometimes if I go see a movie with other people, I will feel a little bit like I need to kind of like take their thoughts into consideration and not just my own, which kind of sometimes leads to me feeling like a certain way about movies that isn't super authentic to how I actually feel about them. And I think also it's just like, when you're so close to something, seeing it can kind of like really color your opinion of it. Like, after the movie, I told my mom, oh, I really enjoyed it, and she's like, did you actually like it, or was it just that like you're so obsessed with Wicked that you were gonna like it regardless of what happens? And I'm like, no, you know, I definitely made sure to like have that already in mind while I was seeing it, being like, okay, you know, just because you love Wicked doesn't mean that you have to feel a certain way about the movie. I could like it, I could not like it, and that's gonna be just fine with me. But I ended up really loving the movie. I gave it 10 out of 10 on Twitter, on Threads, on everywhere, like literally everywhere. I was like, 10 out of 10 movie, it's iconic, it's so amazing. And like, I was sitting there while in the movie theater watching this movie and being like, I could totally see myself, like once this comes out on like streaming or DVD or whatever, I could totally see myself just being like, let's watch Wicked. Like, let's just watch Wicked, you know? And so I know that it's gonna be like an all-time classic for me. I really enjoyed this movie. That's not to say that I didn't like have things that I disliked about it. I will say that there are moments in this movie where I just wasn't super convinced by Ariana Grande's performance. Obviously, she's so talented, and I've been like a huge Ariana Grande fan since like high school. I was watching her YouTube videos like as they were being posted. I was obsessed with Victorious in high school. Like, I loved Victorious in like a really weird way. Like a way that like probably most high schoolers were not liking Victoria, you know what I mean? Like, I was just watching it because I loved it, and I was so obsessed with like everybody in it, but especially Ariana Grande. Like, I had a very like immediate connection to her, just like her image, her brand, her everything. Like, I loved it so much, and so I became a really big Ariana Grande super fan. My Snapchat handle is literally my version of her YouTube channel name, which was Oh Snap It's Ari. My Snapchat handle's Oh Snap It's Ali. That's how much I like absolutely loved Ariana Grande, and I still love her. Like, oh my gosh, I still love her. Dangerous Woman is like one of the greatest albums of all time. It is so solid. It is such like banger after banger. I will say though that ever since Dangerous Woman, in my opinion, she hasn't topped that. So I have feelings about Ariana Grande. I do love her. I have always loved her, and I have a lot of respect for her as an artist, and I think that she's extremely talented and an extremely, you know, popular and well-established and respected pop star, which I think is really great. And I know that everybody's like, oh, well, she did Broadway, you know, and that's very true. Obviously, as a huge Ariana Grande fan, I know all about 13 the musical, and I was listening to it well before TikTok, well before Ariana Grande stans on Twitter had ever even heard of 13 the musical. Like, I knew about it even before I knew who Ariana Grande was. I'm like a huge musical theater stan, so I've known about 13 the musical for quite a while. And yes, it is true, she was in 13 the musical. However, it is her only like legit Broadway credit. I know people bring up that she was in Annie when she was really little. However, that wasn't a Broadway production of Annie. I don't know where this idea came from that it was a Broadway production of Annie. It wasn't. It was like a small production in her hometown in Florida. And I mean, everybody has been in a production of Annie. I've been in a production of Annie. I've sung songs from Annie. I love Annie. It's one of my favorites. But that doesn't make somebody a Broadway star, you know what I mean? Like, and I would have never classified Ariana as a Broadway star. She's definitely a musical theater fan, and she's been in productions, or I guess she's been in a Broadway production, but other musical theater productions, you know, not necessarily at the caliber of Broadway. I just think it's funny that people are like, oh, but she was on Broadway, and it's like, well, yeah, she was kind of on Broadway, but so was Nick Jonas, so was Joe Jonas, and like people clowned them for auditioning for Fiyero, which is so ironic to me because Joe Jonas and Nick Jonas, even just as like individuals, have more credits on Broadway than Ariana Grande does. Like, Nick Jonas has been in Les Mis twice. He's been in How to Succeed in Business. He is going to be in The Last 5 Years. And there's a few other productions that he's been in as well. Like, I think he was he in Annie Get Your Gun, or was that Joe? I can't remember. But that's just to say that, like, they have been in multiple productions on Broadway, not just one, where when they were like, you know, 13 or whatever. And that's not to like discredit her for what she did in 13. She had like a role with a name and with songs, but like she wasn't necessarily like one of like the main characters. It's actually funny because Liz Gillies has a bigger role in 13 than Ariana Grande did. If you know anything about 13, if you've listened to the soundtrack, Liz Gillies is in like a lot of the songs. So I just think it's really funny and ironic that people will bring up the fact that Ariana Grande was in one production on Broadway and then clown other actors who auditioned who have been in more productions on Broadway. I just think that's weird. I think that, you know, it kind of negates the entire point of you bringing up her Broadway experience and kind of overflating it and making it into something that it's not. Because yes, she was on Broadway, it just wasn't like that serious. Because she like kind of immediately went to Victorious, which is really exciting. I love Victorious. She was incredible. She was amazing and one of my favorite characters on Victorious. Even after she got like, we all joke about the lobotomy, but like even after that, I still loved Kat. But I don't know, like I just think it's so funny that people, you know, will bring that up. Anyway, I do think that she gave a pretty solid performance. I think it was good, but there were a few parts of her performance, actually quite a few parts, like I would say maybe like 60% of her performance where I was like, oh, she's just doing an impersonation of Kristen Chenoweth, which is fine. And it doesn't make the movie bad by any means. And like I said, I think she gave a good performance. But I think with her being set against Cynthia Erivo, who really made Elphaba her own and really gave a very authentic and unique performance as Elphaba, it's very glaring to me personally that like, I'm like, oh, okay, Ariana Grande's doing Kristen Chenoweth playing Glinda, whereas Cynthia Erivo is playing Elphaba. She's not like phoning it in. She's not like doing an impersonation. She is being herself as Elphaba, which I think is really interesting. And she brought a really fresh perspective to Elphaba that I really, really appreciated. And that's why I'm like, oh, Cynthia Erivo gave an incredible performance, like a mind-blowingly life-changing performance as Elphaba. I was blown away, truly. There were so many moments where I was just like, wow, like this choice of her to do certain things as Elphaba, or like, you know, make these certain moments really impactful and then other moments a little bit quieter, I just thought was so intriguing and just so well done on Erivo's part. I was just so incredibly impressed by Cynthia Erivo. I don't know, like she really stood out to me in this performance, and I really loved, I mean, this is one of the things I loved about her performance. There's so many others, but one of the things I really loved is that you really get to see the progression of her character through the way that she performs each song. Whereas with Ariana, I feel like she kind of gives the same energy in every single performance in the movie. Cynthia Erivo, you can see Elphaba go from like somebody who is a little bit more shy and quiet, and that really comes through in her performance, and then to somebody who's so much more powerful and so much more confident by defying gravity. Like, it's so good. She blew me away. I just think that, like, obviously there's that like very different way of performing these two characters, and this is not something that's like necessarily unique to Ariana Grande. Like, it's not really her fault, because I feel like so often in really any production of Wicked, I feel like a lot of people who play Glinda can kind of get into that little mindset of like, oh, I need to be more like Kristen Chenoweth. And it's like, yes, Kristen Chenoweth did an incredible job at being Glinda, and I understand that Ariana Grande is very close friends with Kristen Chenoweth, and maybe that really influenced her decision to do like a bit of an impersonation. However, I really wish Ariana Grande would have made it more her own and made more interesting choices with Glinda's character the way that Cynthia did with Elphaba. And I know people were kind of like throughout, like, you know, I saw it on TikTok and Twitter, whatever, of like, it's really weird that like Cynthia and Idina aren't like as close as Ariana and Kristen are. But I kind of think that that ended up working in Cynthia's favor, because it made her really stand apart. And I think that I think it worked. I think that that's what you want to do with a movie adaptation of this caliber. You want to be able to be set apart from the original production. And unfortunately, I just didn't feel like Ariana Grande did that fully. Was it still really fun to watch her? Did she do a good job? Of course she did. She's Ariana freaking Grande. Of course she's going to do an amazing job at being Glinda. However, was it like mind-bogglingly life-changing, incredible, amazing, fantastic? No. It wasn't, unfortunately. I think, you know, I keep seeing people like get really excited about her performance, and I'm like, yes, it was really good, but like, she didn't do anything like super different than any other Glinda has done in the past. I won't really critique too much like any of the singing performances or anything, because I'm not a professional singer. I only did choir in high school. That's basically the extent of my vocal knowledge, so I'm not really gonna harp too much about either of their vocal performances. I think that Cynthia Erivo did an incredible job. Obviously, I loved her performance as Elphaba. I loved her vocal performance. I thought it was really intriguing, and she obviously made a lot of really cool choices vocally. Ariana Grande, incredible vocals, absolutely incredible performance vocally. I will say that there were some moments with Ariana where I was like, I guess it's not really her fault, because to me there were parts that felt a little bit over edited on Ariana's voice specifically. There were some moments with Cynthia as well, but like mostly Ariana, whereas like this feels like post-production had a bit of a field day and went a little too hard on trying to correct some, you know, tone issues or whatever. You hear it a little bit in Popular. People have been talking about some of the weird like little production goofs, maybe you would call them, where she sounds a little bit robotic, and I don't think that's necessarily her fault. I think that's mostly post-production kind of, you know, going a little bit heavy-handed on, I don't know if it's auto-tune or what, but they just went a little too hard on it for my taste with Ariana. And I don't think that they needed to, you know? I think that, you know, we've seen Ariana Grande perform live many, many times, and she's really, really iconic. Her vocals are incredible. So I don't know why they felt they needed to be so heavy-handed on the post-production, but, you know, whatever. And yeah, so, I mean, overall, I really, really loved this movie. I hope that I get to go see it again before it leaves the theater. I really wanted to go see it as soon as possible, so I'm glad I got to do that. And yeah, if you haven't gone to see it yet, which is crazy if you haven't, but if you somehow haven't seen it yet, I highly, highly recommend that you do that. And yeah, I feel like that's all of my thoughts on Wicked for right now. Maybe I will think of other things later and I will let you guys know. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of give you that sort of like my thoughts on Wicked. Also, I have been repeating the line from Dancing Through Life where Nessa Rose is like, Me and Bach. I love that. The way that she says Bach is just so funny. It was so funny because last night I was looking through every single TikTok of the me and Bach. And I'm just like, I love it. I love the way she says it. It like scratches my brain so perfectly. We deserve each other, me and Bach. I love it so much. The me and Bach. As I was listening to the original soundtrack and I'm like, she does not do that. It's so funny. Like the original Nessa Rose does not do that. She just literally just says me and Bach. And it's not Bach. I love it. An iconic choice. Incredible. It is stuck in my brain. It did its job. So yeah, those are all my thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. Let me know what you thought about Wicked in the comments down below. And I will see you all in tomorrow's Vlogmas. Bye!